Hi Taurus, welcome to your March 2020 love reading. It's Rena here. So I'm using the, what is it called? Ethereal Visions Tarot. I'll show you the back. As I've done this before. I've used these before. I just think they're romantic. The other thing I was going to tell you is I am recovering from the flu, so if I'm a little spacey or nasally, that's why. Ooh, and they also have, see that gleam? That reminds me of that old toothpaste called Gleam. I wonder if they still have that. And it had little speckles in it. I know that was very, very random. I told you I'm a little loopy. Okay. So the heart of the matter is the Ace of Swords. If you're single, this can mean that you're just, you know, very much into yourself and you're ready to kind of, you know, enter a new chapter in your life. Uranus is in your sign, and that is very good for loosening up Taurians and making them more, I would say, risk takers, like kind of breaking the mold. You tend to go with the tried and true in a lot of things, and I think that Taurus people are going to kind of be a little bit more willing to go against the grain and or kind of not do what they've always done. And if you're somebody who is currently in a relationship, you may be like, I am totally seeing what that person is up to. As a matter of fact, with the person who's in a relationship, this is what's happening. Now you notice they have women and, you know, drinking. And this could be like the classic womanizer, somebody who is, or somebody who is just like, you know, living at the bar and is not being a good spouse to you, a good partner to you. And you're just like, you finally are waking up. And maybe you were in deep denial over it, and now you're like, okay. And you know what? I love the Ace of Swords because it's actually a card of victory. It's a card of like, in one of my books it says, it's a victory like, I think he says something like, Anthony Lewis, Tarot Plain and Simple, he says, like, a victory arising from terrible circumstances or something like that. And terrible circumstances can just mean that a lot of stress, a lot of pain has led to you seeing the light and being able to triumph over a situation. And so even though it's something that you're coming to from a background of a lot of drama, all's well that ends well, you know. And yeah, so that's really good. But if you're still with somebody, then at the very least you may be, okay, now I'm on to what's going on here, whether it's like cheating or drinking excessively, and I'm not having it. I'm, you know, I'm willing to consider being alone. The higher message is the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is, oh, I was just looking to see what that was, because it kind of like, this deck is faithful to Rider-Waite, like the house part is, but this part, I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a woman in like an angel type of wings. The Four of Wands is a card, if you break it down, 4 is, in astrology, the number of the domestic sphere. And Wands is about joy, passion, and things like that. So it's about having a happy home life. Happy, like, well, I guess you'd say family too. And that's the higher message. It means that this is, what you're after. So anything that doesn't fit with that is something that, you're going to, like the surgeon's scalpel, just kind of cut away. And so that swords, but it's funny because as the challenge card, I got the Three of Swords. Now actually, the Three of Swords can be that feeling of rejection. I mean, this couldn't be more vivid a depiction, right through the heart. One actual interpretation of the Three of Swords is cutting off something very cleanly. In other words, if it's a relationship, it's not on again, off again. You don't do that with whatever's going on here. Or if you already have been doing this, you put a stop to it, because every time that you do that, you become more and more weakened in the sense that your energy gets depleted dealing with this particular situation. And, people do that because they really care about the other person, and they don't want to just like drop that person. But on the other hand, you do want to preserve your energy, your vital life force. And anyone who sucks at that life force is, creating a problem in your life. And it's almost like very clear cut. And I think that's why the Ace of Swords is there, is because you probably realize, if I want the outcome of the Four of Wands, I have to be doing things and aligning myself with things that contribute to that. And anything that doesn't, it has to go. The Three of Swords, what is going on, and I notice this a lot, is that the Three of Swords can be a card of feeling rejected. And the problem is that sometimes people who experience infidelity feel that it is somehow a indictment against them, that somehow it's showing that they are unworthy or undesirable, when really it's really showing this other person and what they're about. And that's the mistake a lot of people make, is that they take it personally instead of laying the burden on the person who is doing that. Doesn't mean that the person being cheated on is completely absolved from anything, but just not to the nth degree, not the most part. But in the case of somebody who's single, you may be I'm thinking, like, even with the Three of Cups, someone who is even like friends, like, who do you hang around with? What is the kind of people? Because, who we hang around, is who we attract into our life, is going to determine what type of relationship we have. And, other people can sometimes put onto you their own values that may not be at all may not make any sense to you because of where you're at and what you're about. So it's important not to just assume that somebody else's values are what is important for you. For instance, as a Taurus, let's say you're a woman and you have girlfriends and they're always like talking about things and they're kind of shallow and they're trying to, and they don't like any of the people that you date. That certainly can happen. And who knows, some of these people these women, they may be married and or in a committed relationship and they're unhappy and they see that you're with someone nice and they seek to kind of like tear them down. So it's funny, that Ace of Swords, it can be multiple scenarios that you're kind of seeing the light about. And I think, with the Four of Wands, it's like, what does a happy home constitute for you? Not what it's for somebody else. It's coming in, Knight of Cups, offer of love. This is a romantic type of individual, artistic, maybe sensitive, somebody who is, this can be like some kind of an offer. Could be a water sign individual. I don't know if Knight of Cups is specifically one water sign versus the other. I keep saying I'm going to look that up and I keep forgetting to. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, and you get along with water. You're compatible specifically with water. Not to say, every water sign that you meet you're just going to automatically be compatible with, but that could be what's coming in for you. And the outcome, it's funny, this is a sign of Cancer, so I don't know, maybe this is just like further. The outcome is the Chariot. And really what the Chariot represents is that sense of direction in life. Like you're not just spinning your wheels. I feel that way though with the Ace of Swords as well. Maybe you've been kind of in a bit of state of confusion, Taurus, for some reason, and things are becoming clearer about what you want. And perhaps you meet a person who has that kind of effect on you that is pulling you in the right direction. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, the link to my website is below. Take care. Bye.